Today's guest of honor is special. The more I read about her, the more I get assured that success is all about having visibility, not only about having vision. I'm honored and excited today to welcome a lady with an aim, a living epitome of huge inspiration, especially among the young generation, Dr. Vera Spillner. It's an honor to have you here.
Thanks so much, Anirudh. It's a pleasure.
So this is a problem-solving experiment where I'm going to be giving a few puzzles for my guest to solve. And Frederick just switched the article on containing the puzzles just 1 minute ago, so you will not see it before this. So, are you ready?
I am as ready as I can be, and as I said before, I'm pretty scared because I'm just trying.
Yes. So this is the first puzzle in front of you, in which you have to place a white king and a white bishop on the board so that there exists a mate in two. A simple mate in two.
Okay, so I have to place a white king and a white bishop so that there's a mate in two.
Correct. So for instance, you can place a white king on F8.
And you mean that?
And bishop on G7, after which there should be a mate in two present.
And black is getting mated.
Correct. Black will get mated.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me see at first. What do we have? And it must be a forced mate in two. Yeah, yes. And it cannot be anything, and it must be forced, right? Okay.
Correct. So the first step in solving this, I would say, is go on.
I have one more question for you. Who is to move? Is black to move?
No. Okay. So once you place the white king and white bishop, it will be white moving first, and then black will try to parry it. After which white can give a checkmate, and so black is working against you. It's adversarial.
Okay, and white moves first. Okay, just a second.
Yep. So one thing I would say is that we should first figure out what squared color should it be. Should it be a light squared bishop or a dark squared bishop? So once we figure out...
so my first thought is it should probably be a light squared bishop.
Correct.
And I was thinking that maybe the first move should be something like the bishop taking a piece. I'm at the moment looking at the knight on d5.
So how do you think that could be made here? Because of course, it would be even better if we can try covering these two squares, right? Because, or else black will just try and escape that way.
Okay, so what you're saying is probably the bishop should be somewhere along this diagonal which you just marked in the end. So then there must be something forced which the king does first, so that you have to respond with black and cannot prevent. But see, if I'm moving the bishop there, you could still put the rook in between.
That's true. So we need to be mindful of how black can play.
Plus I cannot put the bishop on a6 from the start because you have the rook on a2.
Yeah.
And also you have the whole diagonal covered as of yet.
You're completely on the right path. Actually, we must figure out that since it's only a king and a bishop against such a mighty army of these black pieces, they won't be able to do much unless we give for instance, a check on the first move.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, for example, if I were to give a check on d3, the problem is that my king would have to protect this bishop, and it cannot, because it can't be placed anywhere except for in a check.
Exactly, like we can't place the king on e4 because this will already be in check, after which we can't play bishop d3.
Yeah. Unless the king can also not be on g2 because of the rook. The king could be on f3, for example.
Yeah.
And the problem is that the bishop cannot really move in. Could be that the bishop is on. No, he cannot be. Oh yeah, maybe the bishop. No, yeah, maybe the bishop is on something like g2, and then would go to f1 for a check.
Yeah.
The problem is though that then the queen would take it, and I have nothing that I can do, so that's not possible. So after all, maybe the bishop would have to take something, but then it can be taken back almost everywhere. The bishop can also not move to e2 because it's double attacked.
Yeah, true. Okay, so we know that on the first move we should try and capture a piece, but we also know that we should try and give a check on the first move. So do you think both of these things could be possible at once?
Yeah, I have been looking at the knight on the d5 square, but the problem is that that's the wrong diagonal.
Yeah.
So, but if we were to go for the f1 to a6 diagonal, we can't take a piece in the first move, can we? Unless maybe the king takes something, but no, that's not possible. It's not possible. Is it? Well, the king could take the queen, maybe. But the problem is that the rook can then give me a check. Well, unless what if the king is on g1 and the bishop goes to f1? Check. The rook can move in between. No, they can't do anything. But if the king takes the queen, it doesn't really help me because the rook can give me a check, and then what?
Is it possible that we take the rook with the bishop?
If we were to take the queen first, we can't do that. Oh, you mean to take... Well, again, if I were to take the queen now, I would say the rook goes to a1, and that the end of the two move made, is it not?
That's true. However, is it possible that we take the queen with a check?
Yeah, of course, if the bishop is on f1.
Yeah, and is this a mate in two?
Well, that could be it. That's really cool. Let me have a look. So it would be, that's very smart. We take the queen, and the rook has to move in between, and then it's taken, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's it. This is
That was really smart, Anirudh. That was very, very smart.
yeah, and so
Thank you so much for helping me through this. It's very cool.
yeah, and so this was composed quite a long way back actually by Edward Dunsany, and this is a wonderful problem. Though there remains one last trick. Is this position legal?
Okay.
If so, what was Black's last move?
Yeah, it's legal. Black's last move could have been pawn on f2 or d2. No, it must have been pawn on d2, taking on on e1.
Exactly, that's perfect. So he captures a piece on e1, promotes to queen, after which it's checkmate.
Yes.
And so that's it for the first puzzle. You solved it amazingly. Exactly the thought process which was required.
Well, you were so kind. You were very kind. Thanks so much, but great fun. Super cool. It's like wrapping my neurons in a new way, and I'm really excited to get to know this. It's very nice.
Yeah, and so now for the second puzzle. Are you ready?
Yes, absolutely. As ready as I can be.
Haha, so here it is on the left of my screen. Do you want me to zoom it in a bit?
No, it's fine, but let me know what you're expecting me to do.
Yeah, so basically each letter stands for a specific black or white piece type, and you need to reconstruct the position. So for instance, all B's could represent the white king, or all A's could represent the black bishop, and so on and so forth. And you need to figure out what piece is which. There is one.
Okay, so I have. Before you go on, let me just quickly ask you something. So all A's have to be the same type. So it could be pawns, but they can be different colors, or are they all the same color?
They're all the same colors, same piece type. So they all would be white kings. Yeah.
Okay, and does it have to be, okay, when you're saying they could all be white kings, for example, that means that this is not a normal chess position, because it could be several kings, for example.
No, and it's a legal position. So, for instance, there's only going to be one white king, one black king.
Okay, so it cannot be many kings.
Yeah, of course. It was just a way to tell you exactly how it works. Yeah.
Okay, so that means that already I've asked this before, but the same letter is not only the same type of piece, but it's also identical color.
Correct.
Okay, so already I could deduce that, for example, the A's cannot be king or queens. They can also not be bishops. They cannot be knights. So it cannot be king, cannot be queen, cannot be bishop, it cannot be knight, it cannot be rook. What else do we have? We only have pawns, right? So it can be only pawns. Anirudh, I have one more question because it's a bit blurred for me. So do I see correctly on the third file we have AAAB? On the oh yeah, that's super sweet. That's very nice. Perfect. Super good, because I have a bit blurred on the screen. Now it's much better. Okay. Cool. Okay, since you're saying that it must be legal, there's 3 A's on the back rank. How can they be on the back rank? So they cannot be white pawns. So A probably has to be a black pawn. Let's assume that for a moment.
Well, how can black pawns be on the last rank? Won't they have promoted if they were?
Well, they can have been. They can have been promoted to the last rank, and like, is it legally possible to switch a pawn into a pawn? No, that's probably not possible, is it?
Of course not. No, that's not possible. That's not possible. So A's can't be, for instance, pawns because they're on the first slash last rank, and so pawns can never exist on the first slash and or last rank, and so we can deduce that it must be either a queen, rook, bishop, or knight.
Okay, understood. So then there are so many A's because of the 3 guys that have already been promoted to the last rank. But if it's the last rank, they are for sure already black. This much we know. So the A is black. You're absolutely right. They cannot be pawns because they are on the last rank. So they have been switched and transformed into something else. Cannot be king either. Of course not.
Nope.
Let's, for simplicity reasons, assume for a second that they were rooks. Just for a moment, let's see.
Okay.
Okay. So. Yeah, you're actually putting them. How nice. Okay, super cool. So let's assume for a moment that E. Oh yeah, are you going to always place it?
Yeah, so that you can easily figure out what position it is.
Did you say yes? I didn't hear you.
Yes, I will.
That's super. So let's. Super. It's EDC. Okay. So we have A. I'm just going to write it down really quickly so that I have it clearly. And then we have B, 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 A. And then we have B, A, A. Okay. So you put rooks. Okay. So how about a black? That would be very amazing, right? Okay, but how about a black? Let's try a black. No, that's not possible. Well, there's an E next to the. Okay. Okay, so there's only one C and only one D and one E. So one of them is the white king and one is the black king. So let's assume that E could be the black king for a moment.
Okay.
And let's assume that C is the white king because they have to be one apart.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Do we know do we have any information? Okay, we only know it has to be a legally possible situation, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it has to have been legally reached, right?
Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
So what do you think B's could be? And I think the best.
So let's think about what if.
Go on, please go on.
What if the bees were like white pawns? Let's think that for a second. And the king has moved. It's not possible because the black rook back there could not be where it is.
That's true.
So, let's think about what if they were. What if they were all white knights? That's not possible because then the black king couldn't be where it is.
That would be a double check, which is not going to be legally possible.
Yeah, exactly. Can it at all be, could it be anything black? I don't think so, because anything black would have checked the king already earlier, so it's not possible. So it must be something white.
Correct.
We said it cannot be pawns, it cannot be knights, it cannot be bishops.
Nope. Again, double check on the king. I mean, whatever way around the king is, it will
cannot.
Be. Yeah.
It cannot be rooks either, really, I think.
That's true, because again, what was white's last move? If it was rook. However, are we sure that
Yeah.
these pieces, which is A, are they black rooks or can they be anything else? Because the problem remains that it's not going to be legal, right? If it's a black rook, because how did the black rook come here? What was the last move?
Absolutely.
So,
Yes. So how about if they were knights?
okay, knights they are. And what do you think these pieces will be then? Can't be knights, bishops, or rooks.
Well, if they... Who moved last, by the way? Last moved?
Oh, well, we don't exactly know that. We just have to deduce the position.
We
But
don't know.
yeah, but looking at the
Yeah.
position, we can presume that black last played a move, which was giving a check to the white king.
Yeah, because he's saying check if these are knights. Okay. So, but then they cannot be knights because they would have checked the black king twice. Could they be pawns? Yes, they could be pawns, white pawns. Let me have a look. So here in this position, the black king is not in check, and the last move could have been black knight to d3.
Exactly, you're doing great. Now, what is D? And that's the big question.
D must be somebody that would not put white king into check because it didn't go away. It cannot be a white pawn, it cannot be a black pawn. It could be a white knight, but yes, maybe a white knight because that guy is then not doing anything to the black king. It's not checking anything. That could be possible.
That's it. Perfect. You got the solution.
Wow. Oh my goodness, I'm probably the slowest person in the world, but I tell you, I'm having great fun, and you're the sweetest, very nice master of this. Thanks so much for guiding me there.
No worries. You did very well, and a logical perspective as to how you solved it was good. However, how I would have probably approached the problem would have been first looking at the kings and then looking at all other pieces, because once we place the rooks on the board, then we kind of narrowed our thinking that it must be black rooks when we were just guessing that it could be that. So I would have probably placed, all of the ones which I know for a fact must be these, and then gone on from there.
That sounds super logical, absolutely. Yes, makes fully
Nevertheless,
sense.
you solved it correctly, and so that's what matters in the end. So it was a honor to have such a bright mind like yours on our channel, and so thank you very much for joining us.
Anirudh, thank you so much.